what we can minimize is what we want to do.
But it's
Right.
just, I mean, for example, for me, I'm very sensitive to everything,
Yeah.
especially in my skin. And then in the apartment where I live in, the water, I've noticed that it has a lot of fluoride.
Yeah.
Because when I come out, I can smell it on my skin, and it's damaging my skin.
Right, so you go to Home Depot and you buy yourself a filter. I know, you should see my house, guys. I mean, it's I've got a filter. I've got a filter. You do what you can. That would be the thing. Yes, she's right. There's chemicals everywhere, but you do what you can to minimize it, and then you let it go. Then you've got to let it go, right? You do what you can to minimize it, and then you let it go. But what we're talking about, the other stuff, the red food dye and the parabens, you can choose to buy products that don't have that. So that's a choice. That's a choice, yes.
Oh, I was just gonna ask you, what do you do like for shoes? Because shoes tend that's even worse than your clothing inside your closet. So for example, I usually tend to, because my closet is not that big. It's a really small walk-in closet. And I hate that my shoes are all underneath and then my clothes is all on top. And then just like, even though I clean them and everything, I just don't like the mix of I guess the smell or the odor that.
I usually put them, this is what I do. I buy a new pair of shoes and they're out in the garage for a few weeks during the time that
Okay.
and then I bring them back in. You do what you can.
Okay.
You do what you can. The other thing that I do is I put mine in a plastic box once they've been aired out, and I put them in a plastic box. So all my shoes are organized, color-coded, and all of that, right? I know you guys are thinking, she color codes. Yes, I color code my shoes and my clothes, and my spring clothes are on one side and my, right? But so what this is talking about, obviously, is like what she said. It's everywhere, right? But what we can do to minimize is that's what we're going for, right? So we begin to do that, and then you got to let it go. You got to let it go at some time, because there's chemicals everywhere. Our food is not the same anymore. So what do? You take supplements, but you've got to be careful to take the right quality supplements that are actually there to do what they need to do, right? And we want to cleanse ourselves, and you have to be real careful. You have to pick your stuff, right? Because even the research that you do on the internet is not all true, right? And so I still go back to the library and I find books, right? So you have to be real careful with everything. But what's important too is your thoughts and your actions, right? Your words. Are you pure of heart when you speak and when you think? Right? How many of us react to our parents? It just bothers you. You react to them. It just bothers you, and you want to just chop them off at the knees, right? But what you've got to do is start in here. Start cleaning your heart chakra, right? We're in the 4th chakra. We got to start cleaning now our 4th chakra, because this is where love and compassion expand. When you're pure of heart, then your love and your compassion expand. Then you're coming from a place of loving. So the one question I would ask you to ask yourself: am I being loving to her? Am I being loving to me? Am I being loving to everybody that I meet? That's your question for your 4th chakra. If it's not being loving, then don't do it, don't say it, don't think it. Do the best you can to move it out of your thought system, right? Does that make sense? So let me give you another example. Yesterday, my husband's a CPA, so right now is crunch time. He's got all these people that are like, I want my taxes done, oh my God, blah, blah, blah. So it's like they always wait till the last minute, and then they want it done like yesterday. And it's like, no, that's not the way it works, right? So anyway, so he comes in, and the kids had left the garage open, and so he comes in and he says, "Why is the garage open?" He doesn't really want an answer, right? We don't really want an answer when you do something like that. So I'm going to give you an example. Anytime you ask a question starting with a why, or how come, that's not in your fourth chakra. That's not in your fourth chakra. Right? Think about that. When do you ask why? Why sends you into, if somebody were to ask you, why do you want to be so clean? Why do you want to be so spiritual? She's going to come back and she's going to feel a need to defend. When you ask somebody a why question, it puts them into a defense. Now, if I were to ask her, what is it about being so spiritual that you totally love? Did you hear the question? Same, I want the same answer, but listen to how it's asked. This is what we call sausha, purity, right? Why do you want to be so spiritual? Am I practicing pure heart there? Am I coming from my fourth chakra? Now listen to the other question. Rephrase the same question. What is it about spirituality that so enthralls you that you really want to do that? Or you really want to just be that? Right? I'm eliciting the same response, but two different ways. Yes? So that's what we have to practice now. That's why I want you to practice purity. But one thing I really want you to practice is getting rid of that red dye 40. And when you begin to see the dangers of red dye 40, and in all the foods that they're in, you're going to realize that in order to be able to save. Now, why do I pick on red dye 40? Because that's one of the worst